morning friends, I'm Karina from Lifting Pins and Needles, and today I am showing you yet another pair of culottes. Now I really like this style, it suits the weather, I like how they look. Usually I make them in a midi length, like from my waist down 75 centimeters. I like that length. And yeah, I'm just on an obsession with culottes lately. So I like the line drawings and the style shown on the website. I'll insert the line drawings here so you can see. There's some really interesting pleat features around the front. It's got some pockets on the sides that I plan to eliminate from the very get-go. Now, what is slightly annoying about Style Arc is that they have like a generic sizing chart for for all the patterns. It's not specific to this pattern. So you don't get like finished garment measurements and stuff, you just get body measurements, and you just have to trust that the ease is going to be what you like, because you don't know really, unless you do flat measurements, which would be really hard on a style like this with all those pleats and things. It would be sort of hard to do flat measurement, around the ease of the hips and stuff like that. So when you choose a size, you get the size above it and the size below it. So you just get 3 sizes. You don't get like the full range of sizes, and I don't like that. I would like to get all of them. And they do have a really wide size range, very wide. They go from a size 4 to a size 30, and that will take you from a hip of 83 centimeters to 154 centimeters. Now in inches, that is 32.6 inches to 61 inches. So they have a pretty wide size range, but I mean, lots of people do have to grade in between more than 3 sizes sometimes. So I think that is, I don't know why they do that. Anyway, I decided to have a go, and they had a sale and I purchased a few patterns like these. I like the design of these culottes. So I'm going to show you the size chart, the generic size chart. I bought the size 14, that means I get the size 12 and the size 16. Now the size 12, the hip measurement there is the lowest I would ever go when I'm like covered in like flesh around my bones. Basically, I could not be smaller than that physically. And I have been, but it's not a good look. And the 16 would be the largest size I could ever be. Because I don't know this pattern, I didn't know the ease, I decided to make that size, the size 16. The instructions are literally one page, like one page. They're similar to like Burda and like other magazines where it just says like, sew this, sew this, sew this, and I'm fine with that. I just had a little bit of trouble putting the pleats together. I'm gonna insert here a little diagram they have of how they show you where the pleats go where, and that was helpful. But for me, the most helpful thing was actually the line drawings. So I'm going to insert a video now where you're going to see how I eliminate the pocket. I'm measuring the front crotch and back crotch lengths. I am cutting the bottoms off and measuring that. And also, most importantly, fiddling with the pleats. It took me a while to sit there and like figure them out, but if you take your time, you can achieve it. This is the front pattern piece for the Erin Culottes by Style Arc, and this is supposed to have a pocket there. You can see that slant there. It has the stitching line for the lining that goes in there. I do not want the pocket, and I need to complete that hip part there with the pocket, So I've placed my pocket underneath there, matching those notches there, and then this stitch line is supposed to match that notch right there. So I'm going to go ahead and pin that. So that is actually the front part that's completing, because that pocket is not going to be there. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach on the waistband here on the side. So these patterns have that line for your seam allowance, which is really practical for this sort of thing. So I've pinned that line with the line at the bottom, and that's going to be like if I'd sewn it on. And now I can measure from there down the length that I want my culottes to be. Discounting that little seam allowance on the top of the waistband, I'm going to measure down, and I want my culottes to be 75 centimeters. Now these culottes would measure 80, and then there's the inch of hem allowance. I'm going to mark there at 75. I've marked the red line. I'm going to mark that line across. Now I like this length from another pair of culottes I have that I made a bit long and then I ended up trimming off, and in the end that just wastes fabric and time. So I know that my preferred length for culottes is 75, so I'll just adjust any culotte pattern I have to that length. So I have a line right there. I'm going to add on an inch, chop that off. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to confirm is the crotch at the front, that it measures at least 12.5 inches, which is my front crotch length. Now 12.5 inches is about 32 centimeters. So I have my waistband here. I have a notch there that marks the middle. I'm just gonna again pin that right on the stitch line under there. That's what I like about style arc patterns, that stitch line is really, it's marked so you can actually know where to measure. So that's where my waistline would be, the top of that waistband minus that little seam allowance. I'm going to place my tape measure on the stitching line along that little dotted line and just walk my flexible tape measure around. And now this crotch length is 35 centimeters. At least it's not shorter than my fitted pants front crotch length, because that would be super uncomfortable. So I'm quite happy to just cut this and use that. I'm not going to make modifications. I've attached on that waistband with a pin, and now I know that from there down is going to be the full height of the back crotch. And for me, for fitted pants, it's 16.5 inches, which is 42 centimeters. So when I measure from the top there, discounting that little seam allowance that you can see clearly there on the pattern piece, I'm going to walk again with my flexible tape and go down, and this crotch length at the back is exactly 16.5, 42.5 centimeters. So I mean, I know these culottes are going to fit me in the back perfect. Now you can see there at the top there's lots of pleats. So what I've done is I've folded it on the paper, and then visually I've tried to match what that says. So there's loads of lines here with letters, and the instructions are quite cryptic, and actually I never understand reading instructions, so I had to base myself off the picture to create the pleats how they're supposed to be. So basically that external pleat there, there's one pleat that folds. It tells you there's arrows, and I've marked 2 dots there. So that dot to that dot there, and then that other line to that line there goes like that. And if you can see, that pleat there looks just like that. So basically the pleat next to the hip is going this way, and the pleat under it is going that way, and it creates like a box pleat but crossed over on the top. Same as the center front. In the center front there is a box pleat as well. So you have your center front there, but then you have this other line, and this line is going to meet on one side, and on the other side is going to meet. Anyway, I'm going to show you it on the fabric. So I've pinned all my pleats. There you can see that the pleat that comes from the hip goes in to the center, and the one that goes under goes out to the hip. So that's the way it's supposed to look. The same on the other side. And here, this is the interesting bit. The crotch, the front crotch is under there. So all the excess fabric that was here, one crosses under there, the other one crosses on top. So it also looks like that. So I haven't stitched on anything. This is all pins. But I've done this immediately so I can get it off my brain and I can just make the pants now. I'm just going to do some basting here on the top to secure those pleats. I do need to stitch that, and I've got it pinned there, all that front crotch. I'm going to stitch that first, and then I'm going to baste on top and secure these pleats in place. The way I'm constructing these Erin culottes is a bit different from other culottes, and it's because they have a zipper on the back, center back. So what you see is everything spread out here. The waistband is already attached. I've sewn on the side seams, so the back is over there. You can see the curve there. The back is attached on the side seam there and on the side seam here. With the busy print you can't tell. Here's the other back crotch, and this is the middle box pleat there, the pleats on the side there, and the waistband is already pinned all the way on the top, you can see there. This pattern is amazing. Every pattern piece matches exactly. So I'm going to sew that part of the waistband. Then I'm going to have the waistband there on the back. They're ready for me to be able to attach a zipper and finish off this back crotch. And then the last step will be the inseam and the hem. So I have them here on my hanger. I chose a crepe with nice drape, not transparent at all, not transparent. This is the front. Now the print is ridiculous. You can't see the pleat detail, so that was a bad choice on my part. I think to show off the pretty pleats, I need to make this in a solid. So here's the center with the pleats that go like this, and then on the side the pleats go overlapping them, you know, themselves as well. So yeah, this is totally silly on my part to show you this in a print because you can't see the, you know, the details, and it's a shame because they are very pretty. At the back, the zipper is in the middle like I like, centered in zipper insertion including the waistband. The waistband is curved, super comfortable. There are some darts at the back for shaping. Yeah, just a really nice overall pattern. The length is what I wanted it to be, and I really like them. They're really comfortable. So I have them on so you can see how they fit. I have them on with a basic black top. You can see the waistband hits right at the belly button as usual. My waist is above there, like, you know, 1.5 inches above that. Here are all these little pleats at the front that you can't appreciate. No pockets. I really dislike pockets. I'm a big pocket disliker. I don't think they bring anything extra to the pattern. The crotch at the bottom is super comfy. It's lower, you know, it's not supposed to be like fitted pants. And the width of the leg is nice. I think with these you can tell that they're white pants. They don't look that much like a skirt. So yeah, happy. Now if I was someone that used crop things and like to tuck in, I think the pleat details would be more apparent and on a solid as well. But as the first time I make them, I'm pleased with them. They're quite roomy around the hips, nice and roomy around the waist, nice and comfortable. I think I chose the right size for them, making them 16. I have 2 sizes to go down if I lose all that amount of weight. That's very hard, as you know, for me. But I think I chose the right size to purchase, and I would have been very upset if I'd purchased the wrong sizes, you know. I mean, pros and cons. Pros, I like the design. I like that on the pattern you have the stitch line really marked. It makes it really easy to do flat measurements. I like the style. I think the ease they incorporated into the pattern based on the body measurements is accurate, is comfortable. It's the amount of ease I would like. You know, they fit really well, you know. Cons is that you don't get the full range. I mean, yeah. What happens if I wanted to make this for my mom? I wouldn't be able to because she would be like a size 10 or something, you know. So it's a bit upsetting that you don't own all the size range, you know. But oh well, I like the style. I think it's worth it to try their patterns if you're more intermediate, because there's no hand holding, no instructions basically that are going to help you that much. Depends on the pattern, but for this it was just bing 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 bing, you know. But if you're a beginner, I would start with a culotte pattern that had a bit more to like help you, you know. Not that this was hard, this was super easy once the pleats were figured out. That is all for now. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. Have you tried any style arc? I am really liking style arc, really. I am liking them, and it just makes me think more about the size I want to make and the future. And that's not a bad thing too. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification so you don't miss a sewing and fit tip with me. Bye. Have fun sewing.